Hello, I am Toby Rutter and this is the second instalment of my weekly project reflection videos. We've been carrying on with our Scratch project this week, and on our project day, Thursday, we spent the day workshopping with some improvisational movement, and then in the afternoon we were adding some text to the movement with some free writing that we'd created ourselves. I've found that this week we've been quite heavy on the theory work. So we were assigned a research task in which within our groups we decided on a number of research topics that we wanted to investigate. And that ranged from topics to do with how we wanted to stage the piece, through to themes that we wanted to explore within the piece. And within the stimulus. So the research topic that I was given was addiction. So I've been investigating and researching how addiction can manifest itself, how it progresses biologically, neurologically, chemically, any potential treatments, but also how it can affect other people. And how it can affect family life. And this is because our chosen stimulus, Ace of Fields, within the anthology of poetry set in Dartmoor, Ace of Fields, as I mentioned last week, is about a coal miner with some very debaucherous appetites and a series of addiction to alcohol, gambling. And so we wanted to get a little bit more insight into the accuracy of how we're portraying the addiction and his debauchery. And so I think we'll find that really helpful as we go into the creative process next week. I think we'll really find it helpful to have an insight into that, so that we can create a little bit more accurate work rather than just going off maybe what we've seen in films and in media. We can go off, a compilation of serious biological studies and studies into what it means to be addicted and what can happen because of that. And I think we can apply that, to any research done in creative work. Having an insight and being able to create more accurate work creates more engaging work, I think. When people are eyeballing it, I'll use an analogy. It's like when you're baking a cake. If you're eyeballing it and you don't know what you're doing and you're just throwing in ingredients that you think are going to work, the cake's not going to taste as nice as if you measure everything, you know what you're doing, you know you're doing it the right way, and you know you're doing it accurately. So the piece of work is the cake, and the ingredients are the research that's being done and making sure that we're doing that correctly. So back to project day on Thursday, it was really nice to bond with the group a little bit, and to get to know how they work a little bit better, so that going forward I can adapt myself as a theatre maker to them and how they work, which I think will make the whole creative process a whole lot easier. I think we're all feeling the pressure a little bit, because as we often find with project, it gets left to quite a late stage, normally at least halfway through the project, before we actually start making our pieces and before we go into the creative process. And we see every time that by the end of the project, we have a piece that's worth watching, and it always works out in the end. And so at this point, it's easy to comfort oneself knowing that we've done this before several times. we know that even though the pressure will be on, we will have a piece. And I think having that little bit of extra pressure, time pressure, might be helpful. And also the workshopping that we're doing now, for example, the movement sessions that we did on Thursday, we can take that and we can use that as a tool when we're in the creative process making our work. So yeah, this has been the second installment of my weekly reflection videos, and I will see you next week.